Okay, it's been 2 weeks since the last one, so here we go. What I've been working on is sequences and adding calls to a sequence, or rather generating sequences. As you can see here, we have a set of calls that are enabled and will be part of the generated call, and I've also put some weights on them. Now when I press generate, it will do a few things, but it will do a lot of things. It will basically have a start and end. Let's say the start is a static square and the end is a normal lines. It's meant to be a static square, but I cannot, with the current data set I've got, find something that ends in a static square from these particular formations. That's just my ignorance more than anything else. So I'll press generate, and in the background what it's going to do is it's going to take this first one, find all the calls that match up with that static square, and then add up to three calls to each formation. So that will, let's say, the maximum of 3 calls from that first formation, and then it will take those next 3 and then add another 3 to each of those 3, so it grows 3 by 3 by 3 by 3. And as you can imagine, by call number 12 or 13 you're into the many thousands of calls that have been added. It just grows like a big mushroom. And if I go to the background of the application itself, you can see here that it's added the forward route. So from beats 0 to 64, it's been able to add 1,863 calls in adjoining sequences, and then to allow it to end up in the right place, it does a reverse sequence which starts in the finish formation and works its way backwards, adding calls that end in the formation of the previous call. It then joins up the two of these tables, and in this case it's found 10 unique sequences out of all of those calls, which isn't many, but it's enough. And so you've got sequences of 10, 9 and 13 and 12 and 11, and then it adds them to the database. So what we can do with that is, now that we've got that, we can actually display them. So if I play next, it does number 1. Now it goes a bit awry. There's all sorts of stuff I haven't done properly here. I literally just wanted to get the sequences joined up together. So there is a problem in that it doesn't know about where the dancers are from formation to formation. So the dancers can disappear off the dance floor because they're doing somebody else's move, because the index is wrong. So let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next formation could be in that exact reverse order by the time it's finished that move. So let's see what happens. It's always interesting to see what happens. There you go, they're all off in weird directions. Yep. Yeah, they're still on the screen. That's unusual. Anyway, so basically that, if I take it back to the beginning, come here, whatever it's trying to do here, after it's got to this formation, it may not be these 4 dancers it tend to do, or it thinks that's dancer 3 when it's actually dancer 1, and so it goes off doing the other person's move and ends up going in the wrong direction. Anyway, so that's an explanation of that. The other thing I'm missing is another title here that shows which call they're actually trying to execute at this point within the sequence. So I have no idea half the time what they're trying to do, which would be useful. So there's 2 main things: a title, and also being able to align the dancers from one formation to another. And I suspect that will take all of next week to figure out how to make those line up. But I'm really pleased with how that works. You can also, the weighting now works as well, but unfortunately because it's only adding 1 of 3 moves, it's very you find that the sequences generating are very similar. They're using the same moves over and over again. So I'm going to have to add a bit of randomness to that as well to make sure that we get a good cross section of all the calls that are enabled, rather than just, oh, there's one that's gone a bit weird. Get a good cross section of the calls that have been enabled and allow the calls from call to call to be more interesting. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I can show you a quick example of, say, let's say if I remove that square through, do another generate. There's no feedback on here either, so that's something else I'll have to be added at a later date. It's finished already. 13 moves this time. You may find that there are different moves now when they're working. Sometimes you get moves that actually are coherent, but most of the time they don't look good. And let's slow that one down. Yeah, they're all over the place, but you can kind of get the impression they're doing certain moves, but really hard to see at this point. As I say, it's just a debugging process to get it to work. Anyway, that's all. Nothing really much else to say at this point, just working through it.